I have done my job way too well today, assembling the most powerful speakers on these subjects in this country. And they have given you an awful lot of information, and now I have to follow them all. So let me take this role. Let me kind of homogenize a lot of what you've heard, sum it up, put it in some very straightforward language so that you can take it home and know what to do with it. Let me just say this. Property, liberty, and the rule of law. These are the founding principles of the United States of America. And we hear these words, yet many Americans fail to understand their meaning or how they affect our everyday lives. Our founding fathers warned us that eternal vigilance was necessary in order to protect our liberties. They have been ignored. And American life has begun to change. Americans are finding that life is getting harder. There's less optimism about the future, as the phrase American dream seems to have disappeared from our vocabulary. There is disharmony in almost every aspect of our lives. Parents worry about an education system that no longer seems to teach basic academics. We find fewer local elected officials listening or serving their constituents. Rules and regulations seem to pop out of nowhere to control our daily routines. And the American dream is crumbling under the weight of it. You see, the American dream is built on optimism. It is the idea that you can accomplish anything that you put your mind to. It is the promise that in America you have the freedom to pursue your own goals and that government will protect your right to do it. That is the definition of true freedom. But such a dream can't survive if government is not forced to keep that promise. Instead, government is being used to force us into a national submissiveness. The truth is our lives are getting more stressful, and our everyday living is getting harder because a revolution is taking place in this country, and it is stealing the American promise of inalienable rights. These are the rights we were born with. Rights our founding fathers said were government's duty to protect and preserve. And those natural rights are now being replaced with granted rights created by and authorized by government. As a result, our laws have become little more than rubber bands, stretched to the advantage of the few who have gained the power of pull in a new society of a controlled America. You will find this revolution oozing out of every corner of our society, from textbooks to television to government policy. It is for implementation of this revolution that your schools have been transformed to produce the citizens to live in the new revolutionary society. This is the key to all of the outrages you have witnessed in public classrooms. It is the root to the drive away from academics and sound science. It is the reason why every classroom is filled with discussions of diversity and multiculturalism, but not academics. It is the reason children are being indoctrinated to turn away from their parents and the values that you have taught them. They are being prepared to live in a different society than ours. They are not being prepared to be American citizens, but of a global village. That's why they don't need to know about American history and the Constitution and the Founding Fathers, for you see, they are now irrelevant. The education system today is simply an assault on your child's attitudes, values, and beliefs. It is designed to change and mold them. That is public education's only purpose. And if you fail to grasp this fact, you can never succeed in changing it. The revolution is anti-property rights, anti-free enterprise, and anti-liberty. It is anti-national sovereignty and anti-national borders. It is anti-Western culture. The goal of the revolution is to transform the world into feudal-like governance by making nature the central organizing principle for our economy and our society. This is what the leaders of the revolution believe. Quote, nature has an integral set of different values, cultural, spiritual, and material, where humans are one strand in nature's web, and all living creatures are considered equal. Therefore, the natural way is the right way, and human activities should be molded along nature's rhythms, end quote. That quote comes from the UN's Biodiversity Treaty. An international agenda has been set in motion, beginning with United Nations treaties and agreements, including the Biodiversity Treaty and Agenda 21. That agenda is now working its way down through federal to state to local governments under current policy. And local government is where the current battleground is. The international agenda is driven by the United Nations through two specific UN organizations, including the United Nations Environmental Program and the International Union of Conservation and Nature. And would it surprise you to learn that 6 different agencies of the United States government are active members of the International Union of Conservation and Nature, including the Department of State, Interior, Agriculture, and the Fish and Wildlife Service. And these agencies send representatives to all the meetings of the UN Environmental Program. Through all of the treaties and the agreements and the meetings, there grows an interlocking web of policy that takes root in America through these federal agencies, even driving down into the state and now into the local community governments.